I was 10 years old during the Christmas season of 2005, and there was only one thing on my mind: Nicktoons Unite for the PlayStation 2. This was my Red Ryder BB gun. I wanted nothing more than Nicktoons Unite for the PlayStation 2. See, I used to get Nickelodeon magazine, or Nick Mag as the cool kids say, and there was an ad for Nicktoons Unite. So I used to leave the magazine open to it around the house, just to make sure my mom would see the ad and not forget about Nicktoons Unite for the PlayStation 2. Sure, playing as SpongeBob was neat, but I've done that before. The big appeal in my mind was getting to play as characters like Jimmy Neutron and the one and only Danny Phantom fighting against villains like Vlad Plasmius. That blew my mind as a kid, and I could not wait to play it. Recently, while looking for a YouTube video to watch as some white noise while I settled into bed, I was recommended this one by Papa Gino's. I should note that this is not a YouTuber I'm familiar with, and I've only watched this one video from them. It was well made, but don't take this as any kind of endorsement of him or his content. I don't know the guy, but this video was about leaks for the upcoming Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl 2, a sequel to the Nicktoons Smash Brothers style party fighting game from 2021. It wasn't one I had played myself, but I remember when it was announced, I was happy to see some representation from older franchises like Cat Dog and Real Monsters, alongside all the new characters that, I just kind of assumed were going to be in the game. Why wouldn't there be new characters? Why would they only have old Nicktoons from when I was a kid? That would be insane. So watching this video on the leaks and hearing speculation on the roster for characters featured in this newest Nicktoons crossover, I was kind of shocked. The big new character was Jimmy Neutron, who could team up with Danny Phantom to fight villains like Vlad Plasmius? I clicked on the video because of my childhood nostalgia for Nicktoons Unite, but it left me feeling empty. The newest characters expected to be in the game are from the Loud House, which premiered 7 years ago. The kids who are in the target demographic when it premiered are all in high school and college now. The Loud House has already had a spin-off and a live-action remake. 2 live-action remakes if you count the live-action movie as separate from the live-action TV series. And while I was working on this video, Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl 2 was officially announced with a trailer that more or less confirmed all of this. So what, are there just no new Nicktoons? Not really, no. Of the currently airing Nicktoons, only 2 are not remakes or spin-offs. Only one of those is fully original and not an adaptation of something already successful. This led me to looking up the results of the most prestigious honor in all of Hollywood, the Kids' Choice Awards. Any old shmup can win an Oscar. It takes a truly special shmup to get slimed in the face. The first thing I noticed about the 2023 Kids' Choice Awards was how I was robbed. I can't believe I wasn't even nominated. I have over 500 subscribers, the most any YouTuber has ever had. I think I did not look that up. Second was how SpongeBob won favorite cartoon for the 20th time, only losing once since 2003, and I'll talk about the show it lost to a little while later. But for now I want to focus on 2023's winner for favorite kids TV show, the Fairly Oddparents, Fairly Odder, the second live-action remake of The Fairly Oddparents, a show which ran for 16 years and had multiple soft reboots during its runtime, including once back in 2006, where it was actually cancelled, only to be revived in 2008. Fairly Odder is, technically speaking, not a remake, but more of a soft reboot sequel, taking the same premise from the original, but starring the next generation, like The Force Awakens was to A New Hope. It follows Timmy Turner's young cousin and her stepbrother, who go on their own zany adventures with the fairies Cosmo and Wanda. Adventures might be a bit of a stretch given the budgetary restraints the show clearly faced. Honestly, zany is a stretch too. It was incredibly poorly received and failed to please old fans or find a new audience of young kids, despite clearly trying to do both at once. It premiered on Paramount Plus in March of 2022. In January of 2023, it was removed entirely from all streaming services, for the purposes of tax write-offs and to avoid paying residuals to the actors and writers who worked on the show. Speaking of live-action remakes, Avatar: The Last Airbender is also getting its own second live-action remake premiering on Netflix next year. This was originally going to be created by the same showrunners of the original animated series, a show so beloved that won the Kids' Choice Awards for Best Animated Show in 2008, making it the only series that has disrupted SpongeBob's streak in 21 years. Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko left the production of the Netflix live-action remake over creative differences, although it is is often speculated that this was an excuse, as not long after they left, it was revealed that Nickelodeon's parent company, Viacom CBS, was creating Avatar Studios, with DiMartino and Konietzko at the helm, an entire studio just dedicated to spin-offs and sequels of Avatar The Last Airbender, entirely separate from the live-action remake at Netflix that is still happening too. I love Avatar. It's easily one of my all-time favorite series, and Fairly Oddparents was a definite favorite of mine as a kid, but that doesn't mean I want nothing but Avatar and Fairly Oddparents forever and ever and ever and ever. These companies are trying to profit off of my nostalgia without adding anything new. What does that mean for future generations? Instead of having their own stories, will kids today grow up to just be nostalgic for my nostalgia? How can the entertainment industry grow if it is just caught in this time loop, endlessly repeating itself? Again, this is not hyperbole. There's literally only one original Nicktoon currently airing. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure the stuff coming from Avatar Studios will be great. I'm excited for it, but I'm also well aware that the never-ending nostalgia of constant sequels, reboots, and remakes is not sustainable, no matter the quality. I talked about the dangers of data-driven entertainment before, how Netflix and other streaming services study their users' viewing habits to an absurd degree, and then use that data to decide what content to make. It started with Netflix making House of Cards. They saw the overlap between David Fincher fans and Kevin Spacey fans, so they put them together. A lot of early Netflix shows were made in similar ways, combining elements from different shows that people liked to create new ones, optimizing the length of seasons and the length of episodes to get the maximum amount of buzz for the lowest budget, greenlighting new and experimental content but without taking much of an actual risk because they only made decisions backed by data. Streaming just gave them enough data to make weirder stuff safely. The problem is that letting data drive what you create has one inevitable endpoint, especially now that every studio has the precise consumer microdata that only streaming services can provide, and letting that guide what gets greenlit has become the norm. If you like this, you'll probably like it again, and again, and again. This will only get worse if studios truly begin to use AI to inform creative decisions, because computers will go with the most efficient route, and the most efficient route is to just make the same crowd-pleasing things again, and again, and again. Make no mistake, an AI-guided Nickelodeon will result in unthinkable and unsustainable levels of SpongeBob spin-offs, Avatar sequels, and Fairly Oddparent remakes if we don't stop it. That's part of why the current Writers and Actors Guild strikes are so important. The studio executives are obsessed with the possibilities of fully computer and data-driven creative landscapes, and are seeking to push out the human touch as much as possible in order to maximize efficiency, not realizing that creative industry run like this will eat itself alive, all while trying to maximize corporate profits and use every possible loophole to avoid paying workers what they are due. Regardless of the quality of Fairly Oddparents' Fairly Odder, it was made by humans who did the job their bosses asked them to do within the constraints they were given. Removing it less than a year after premiere to avoid paying them what they were promised is greedy and evil. It's what a lot of studios and streaming services are doing. It's why this strike matters so much. Please consider supporting them however you can. I'll include some links for you to donate if possible in the pinned comment and the description. But for now, I'll leave you with one last thought. There should be a rocket power character in Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl too. I think that would be fun and really speak to my nostalgia.